On the air. Call the meeting to order. I welcome everyone here this evening to our meeting. Anyone has any concerns or questions, raise your hand. If I don't recognize it, some of the other members of the committee will. You're welcome to have your say. We don't mind criticism as long as it's constructive. Cindy, I'll turn it over to you for now.
Okay, good evening and thank you for joining. I would ask that all devices be turned off or silenced. The meeting being held tonight is a public meeting being held under the Planning Act and is being live streamed to our YouTube page. Notice of collection of personal information collected as a result of the public meeting is collected under the authority of the Planning Act and will be used to assist in making a decision on this matter. Persons speaking at the meeting are requested to give their name and address for recording in the minutes. All names, addresses, opinions, and comments may be collected and may form part of the minutes, which will be available to the public. Additionally, interested members of the public can email the clerk or the Development Services Department if they wish to be notified regarding a particular application. Questions regarding the collection should be forwarded to the Development Services Department. Tonight's meeting is to consider public meeting reports. These reports do contain staff recommendations, and the recommendations are typically to approve the conditions, defer the application, or to deny. After the planner's presentation, committee members will be able to ask questions of staff, followed by members of the public. Following the question and answer period, this committee then asks a recommendation of the applications to approve, defer, or deny the application. Following committee's decision, notice will be circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. If a person or public body would otherwise have the ability to appeal the decision of the committee to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make an oral submission at the public meeting or make a written submission to the Township of Stone Mills before the application is provisionally approved, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision.
Thank you, Cindy. I'd ask for approval of the agenda. Moved by Bob, seconded by Marilyn. All those in favor? Carried. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? No. Declarations of conflict of interest or general nature thereof? Is there any? Let the minutes show there is none. Adoption of the minutes. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Bob, seconded by Dieter. Any errors, omissions, discussion arising out of those minutes? All those in favor? Carried. Minor variance applications. AO2-2024, Farron, 81 Millsap Road. Emma, you're on. Would you join us, please, at the table?
Right, through you, Mr. Chair. The applicant is seeking variances to facilitate the construction of a new garage in the southwest portion of the property. The proposed garage is approximately 7.32 meters by 7.32 meters with an approximate height of 6.4 meters. The existing garage is planned to be demolished, and this new garage is proposed to be a replacement. So the subject property is known municipally as 81 Millsap Road. It's located on the north side of the road. The subject property has approximately 32 meters of frontage and an area of around 1.9 hectares, and it's currently developed with a single detached dwelling, garage, and accessory structures. So again, the requested variances include a variance from the front yard. I'll note that the subject property is within the prime agricultural zone, even though the lot area and frontage is more characteristic of a rural residential zone. So that's sort of the result of why a variance is needed in this situation. So they're seeking a 9-meter setback from the front yard compared to 15, and are seeking to reduce the interior side yard setback from 5 meters to 3 meters. So in our analysis, we assessed the proposal against the tests for minor variance. It's our opinion that the proposed variance meets the intent of the Township of Stone Mills official plan, as well as the County of Lennox and Addington official plan, as it's an existing lot of record developed with residential uses. Proposed accessory structure is a replacement to an existing structure and is generally contemplated by the OP. In respect to the zoning bylaw, the proposed variances meet the intent of the zoning bylaw to ensure there's appropriate separation between a road and a side yard setback. It's noted that as the lot has 30 meters of frontage, that's less than typically required for a new residential lot. So the standard provisions of the bylaw don't necessarily work in this situation, especially given the location of the existing house. It's my professional opinion that the application is minor, as the degree of variation requested is unlikely to impact adjacent property owners, as it's a replacement garage and is still sufficiently set back from the road as well as the side yard, considering the existing lot. Overall, it's my professional opinion that the proposed variances will facilitate the construction of a structure that's desirable and appropriate for the use of the land, which is residential land use. So based on the above, with the recommended conditions, it's my opinion that the proposed variances are appropriate and should be approved.
Thank you, Emma. Committee members have any concerns or questions? Yes, Dieter?
Yeah, I'm questioning the requirement of the side yard setback from 5 to 3. My site inspection, it feels to me that there certainly is more than sufficient room to build that garage and have a 5-meter setback, and still a sufficient room between the garage and the house. So I just my own feeling looking at it, I'm just wondering why we need to go to 3. So I'm going to ask the owner why he thinks he has to go to 3 meters when you got room there for 5 to.
Yeah, because it encroaches our nice grass. We only have a certain area of flat grass, which is up there at the top. So we're just trying to keep it away from the house so we can have enough room in between the house and the garage as we can.
Okay, explain to me what's between the house and the garage? Flat rock, is that what you
No,
said?
it's grass. We only have a certain amount of nice flat grass area, so we're just trying to minimize how much of it that we take up.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'll just reiterate through you, Mr. Chair, the 5-meter setback is standard for residential lots that would have a frontage of 60 meters. That's, how the bylaw is written. This lot in particular has a frontage of 30 meters. So in my opinion, the reduced setback is appropriate as it maintains the general intent and understanding that we're looking at a lot with less frontage than contemplated by the bylaw.
Okay. Need a mover and a seconder, either to approve or, yes, Aaron?
I'll make a motion to approve as written.
Seconded by Bob. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Have a good evening. A06-2024, Smith and Concord Homes, 105 South Shore Drive, Abbey Beaver Lake. Welcome to our midst. Emma, you're on.
Through you, Mr. Chair, application A06-2024 is seeking variances to facilitate the construction of a new single detached dwelling and new sewage disposal system on the subject property. The existing single detached dwelling is proposed to be demolished. We'll note that the existing accessory structures, including a cabin and shed, are proposed to be retained. So the application is submitted by Concord Homes to facilitate the construction of a new 213 square meter single detached dwelling and septic system. The property is located at 105 South Shore Drive. It's on the southwestern edge of South Shore Drive on the shore of Beaver Lake. The subject property is an area of approximately 0.2 hectares with 30 meters of frontage on Beaver Lake and 4 meters of frontage on South Shore Drive. Again, the subject property is an existing lot of record that's currently developed with a single detached dwelling and septic system and well. So the requested variances include a a reduction to the interior side lot and side yard setback. Reduction from the required floodplain setback to 11, from 15 meters to 11 meters. A reduction in the exterior side yard setback from 6 meters to 2 meters. And a requested increase to the maximum lot coverage from 10% to 11%. So in our assessment of the application, we reviewed the proposal against the test for minor variance. So the first is, does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? It's my professional opinion that yes, it does. It's an existing lot of record developed with a single detached dwelling. It's designated rural, and the proposed use is consistent with what's intended with the rural designation. The lot is serviced with individual on-site water and sewage services, and the proposal will include a new septic system, which generally is considered to provide enhanced levels of treatment compared to what's there previously. We'll note that there is floodplain on the subject property. However, the proposed new dwelling will be set back farther than the existing dwelling. It is marked, the location of the existing dwelling is shown on the sketch on the screen. It may be faint to see, but the proposed new dwelling will be set back farther and generally represents an improvement. We did receive supportive comments from Quinte Conservation indicating they were supportive of the proposed approximately 11-meter setback from the floodplain. With respect to the zoning bylaw, the lot is an existing lot of record within the residential limited service zone. So overall, the requested variances are to facilitate the proposed dwelling as shown, recognizing that the main intent is to locate the dwelling and septic as far from the water as possible. It's noted that the 30-meter setback has been maintained, but due to the location of the floodplain, not possible to locate a building envelope and septic both outside. So the septic has been located fully outside. The variance is only for the single detached dwelling. With respect to the yard setbacks, it is an irregular sized lot, so sort of where we're considering the exterior side yard versus rear yard was taken into consideration given the existing development on the property and in the area. The proposed setbacks generally meet the intent of the zoning bylaw to ensure, again, adequate separation from lot lines and adjacent land uses. It's my professional opinion that the proposed variances are minor, as it will facilitate the replacement of an existing single detached dwelling in a location that's generally an improvement as it's set back farther from the water. And again, it's my professional opinion that the proposed variants are desirable but appropriate for the use of the land. So again, just to summarize, it's my professional opinion that the variance as proposed should be requested, or sorry, approved.
Thanks, Emma. Committee members have any concerns or questions? Yes, Dieter.
Yes, the question. In regard to the setbacks, I could not find the one that you refer to as the minimum distance between interior side lot line and the driveway required 1.2 meters, proposed 0.8. I can't find that on the sketch. Can you point that out to me? I just can't find what you're talking about there, or where that is.
One second, through you, Mr. Chair, I'm just pulling up my zoning table. Confirm the setback.
I assume that's something to do with the driveway off the end of the road to the garage, but as I say, there's nothing indicated on any of the sketches as to what we're talking about there, so. Do we really need to, I mean, do you need a setback for a driveway? I don't understand that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm just pulling up I believe that the .8 was measured by a colleague of mine using the Bluebeam software, completing the review, and it's just to address that the distance between that gravel driveway entering the lot, like at that top sort of corner of the sketch close to the north arrow, it's to recognize the distance between the driveway at that corner and the location of the paving, or the gravel driveway. And I'll just note, it was, contemplated through the review. Typically, lots require, it is a requirement of the zoning bylaw that interior side lot lines and driveways be separated 1.2 meters for residential uses. So did need to look to vary that. I can point to it if it's.
You're talking about this distance right here then?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, a function of the lot lines and not a typical lot configuration.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Emma.
Okay, now, Dieter? Okay?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay. Anyone else have any concerns or questions? Need a motion? Yes, Dieter?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve? Seconded by Merrill. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Have a good evening. Severance application, B21-2024. A lot creation, McKinsey, 70 Galbraith Grove Road. Anyone here representing McKinsey? Nope. Okay, Emma, you're on.
All right, 3, Mr. Chair. Consent applications B21, 2024, and B22, 2024 seeks to sever 2 parcels from the subject property to create 1 separately conveyable parcel with frontage on Galbraith Grove Road, and to add land to an adjacent property. The proposed severed parcel A is the lot addition parcel. It has an area of 0.2 hectares. It has no frontage. It is vacant and is proposed to be added to adjacent lands at 122D Galbraith Grove Road. So those are the lands sort of immediately north on the sketch. Severed parcel B, which is the new lot creation, proposes a lot with an area of 1 hectare with 122 meters of frontage on Galbraith Grove Road. This lot is currently vacant and is intended for residential development. The retained lands seek to retain an area of 3.8 hectares with 123 meters on Galbraith Grove Road. The retained lands are developed with a single detached dwelling and existing accessory structures. So the subject lands are designated rural in the Township of Stone Mills official plan. The existing and proposed residential uses are permitted in the rural designation. There are no natural heritage features on or adjacent to the subject lands. The subject area is in an area of known karst, so a condition has been included that confirms a qualified engineer may be required to determine bedrock stability and perform and get a permit from Quinte Conservation prior to any construction. We'll note that minimum distance separation was investigated as part of this application. So there is a barn immediately across the road at 103 Galbraith Grove Road. However, the owners of this structure did apply for a change of use permit back in 2023. We heard a severance application related to those lands at the last meeting. And there is a barn at 1374 Bethel Road. However, this barn is separated from the proposed severed lot by 4 or more intervening uses, and as such, the MDS setback could be reduced so as not, did not need to be calculated. So based on this, the proposed severance complies with MDS. We reviewed the application against the general consent policies of the Stone Mills official plan. So the first, the consent for the lot addition, is generally permitted as it's a technical consent, such as a boundary adjustment, and does not result in the creation of a new lot. Severed parcel B, the proposed new lot, is generally a rounding out of an existing developed area and will maintain the character of the area. Single family dwellings on lots ranging in area from sort of 1 to 2.5 hectares. In this situation, the proposed severance location would be considered a rounding out of a cluster of development. With respect to the township zoning bylaw, the lands are zoned, the subject lands are zoned rural within zoning bylaw number 2014-74-4 as amended. So proposed severed parcel A, this is the lot addition parcel. It's to be added to an existing developed lot. The parcel receiving the lot addition is zoned residential limited service. As such, severed parcel A, as a condition of consent, will be required to be rezoned to RLS to avoid split zoning of the enlarged parcel. Severed parcel B is in the rural zone and will be maintained in the rural zone. It meets the minimum lot area and frontage requirements for residential uses, as well as the retained lands. So the minimum lot areas and frontages are maintained, and there's sufficient lot area for any future development on proposed severed parcel B to comply with the provisions of the bylaw. So based on our review, it's my professional opinion that with the recommended conditions that consent B22, 2024, and B21, 2024 are consistent with the intent of the provincial planning statement, conform to the policies of the county and township official plan, and the provisions of the township zoning bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Now, we do have a couple of letters, one that came in our package and another one here today. Everyone aware of the comments? Any concerns, questions? No one's here to represent them, so. Are you representing them? Will you join us at the table then, please? Welcome to our midst. You have concerns?
The concerns I raised was just the potential. So if you look at the property where the new lot is being provided, there is a lot addition immediately to the left. I was unsuccessful in trying to negotiate my own lot addition. So my concern is that I don't want another right-of-way or roadway following that northern portion of the new lot, because I have a large dog that beautiful standard pool that likes to wander along that grassed area, and I don't want to have two roadways on. So all I was asking was that when you do site planning, if the new residence that's built has the access roadway on, further south away from the lake, so that I don't have the impediment of two roads along a strip of property. That was all. And I received Emma's comments that that's not something that the township will do. So I just wanted to come to the meeting and make myself known that I wanted to raise that concern. Thank you.
Appreciate your attendance. Emma, do you want to answer that?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I can just confirm comments sort of previously communicated, and that in terms of policies available, that zoning bylaw requires a 1.2 meter setback for driveways from interior side lot lines. Confirmed with Public Works that they do not have any additional separation requirements for a new driveway. So this would be a driveway proposed from Galbraith Grove Road to access severed parcel B. So yes, we'll just confirm that there's no policies or mechanisms for the township to regulate the location of the new potential new driveway beyond the zoning bylaw. We would note that if a formal right-of-way were to be proposed, sort of connecting the two parcels, that would be a separate matter, which would have to be brought to the committee to create that legal access, and that would be evaluated and assessed separately. So those comments pertain to the establishment of a new driveway for severed parcel B.
That answer your concerns?
Yes, I certainly understand. I appreciate the correspondence from Emma to clarify those matters. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today.
Dieter, you had your hand up. I saw that.
Yeah, okay. I have no problem with severance B, the parcel. However, the lot addition, it has to be deferred because they've shown no distance, the depth of that lot. You know, they don't say whether it's 10 meters or 40 meters or 30 meters. It's not shown on the sketch. You know, so I make it, you know, no problem with the severance itself, but that lot addition, no. They don't, you know, they can interpret that any way they want. You know, I don't understand why they left that blank, and it makes me wonder. So I'm not very happy about that.
Emma, you want to, any concern, you want to answer that?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I just pulled up the original submission. So the original submission does note that that distance there is plus or minus 20 meters. I'll note that the original submission had sort of more irregular lot fabric. It proposed to extend severed parcel B, that southern lot line, straight across, so would result in two triangular pieces. So it just appears as though the, you know, when in the edits to the drawing, that there was a, that this sort of, that measurement was sort of missed or removed. I'm pulling up the second submission just to confirm. So I can see better. I'll note too, Dieter, so below, immediately below, like the severed parcel to be severed is a lot addition A, that label, it indicates a distance of 82 meters, so that there is a dimension associated with that easternmost lot line.
Yeah, but it's not on the sketch.
There's a dimension on, just, it's difficult to see.
I see the 82 meters for the depth of the severed lot, but I don't see a dimension for that lot addition.
Oh, for the lot addition.
And I still, you know,
Yep, so through you, Mr. Chair, would agree that that information is missing from this, missing from the lot addition, so I'm not sure how to, what the procedures are from sort of, I recognize the concerns. From my perspective, it's a lot addition and would be confirmed through like the final plan. My understanding from sort of correspondence with the owner in the application is that it generally follows sort of a fence line, and if you look at the aerial imagery, you can see the area intended. I recognize that's not a survey distance, but would just flag that there will still be a final plan of survey completed as part of this application in the fulfilling of conditions, so I would not have concerns.
well, I still have those concerns. You know, back in the earlier days there, when I was involved with many severances, I remember having come to this committee and say, look, we want to change this by a couple of meters, you know, because of this, and this. And just to willy-nilly, you know, I would prefer to make a motion to defer the severance application until we get a proper sketch. You know, this Mickey Mouse stuff, I'm just not happy with it anymore, you know.
So you're asking for this, the severance and the lot addition to be deferred?
No, just the lot addition. Severance, as I said, I have no problem with severance.
Okay,
There's two different applications.
Yes.
There's the lot, and then there's the lot addition.
lot
So
addition, so you're okay with the
My motion is
lot?
that the lot additions application be deferred until we get a proper sketch.
Well, we have to, as far as I'm concerned, we deal with each one of these separately. So we're dealing with, as the agenda states, we deal with the severance first. So any concerns or questions about the severance? Okay, I need a motion to approve or defer. Yes, Marilyn?
I would approve it as it has been stated for the severance for parcel B.
I have a motion. Yes, Bob, you second it? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Pardon me? Oh, yes, there was a change. Over the Hydro-G study. I forgot to mention that. Were you and any of the other committee members aware of that? Yes. That is going to be a condition added in the conditions that we've already passed. That okay? Everyone understand? All right. Sorry, I messed up. Okay, the lot addition, B22-2024, McKenzie, 70 Galbraith Grove Road. Dieter, see you got your light on, go for it.
My concerns have already been voiced, but I'll make a motion that this one be deferred until we get a proper severance sketch. It shows the exact distance that they're planning on severing for the addition.
We have a motion, do we have a seconder? Bob, further discussion? Anyone have any concerns? Yes, Marilyn?
I understand what Dieter's saying, and it is annoying that it is not on there, and it's probably an oversight. However, in certain circumstances, I don't know historically whether we've ever done such thing as in, you put a stipulation that it cannot be any more than the 20 feet that Emma was talking about. And therefore, if they attempt to go further than that, then it's a problem.
I'll just note 3, Mr. Chair, the sketch provided is a scaled drawing prepared by a surveyor. So, it's ultimately, I would just be confident that dimension could be confirmed and is required to be confirmed when the final plan is submitted.
I know there is concerns, but for once, I have to agree with you, Dieter, that we need everything on that we're dealing with. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to defer the lot addition. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Severance application B40-2024, South, 504 County Road 14. Gary? And upper tier management? Emma, you're on.
All right, 3, Mr. Chair, consent application B40-2024 seeks to sever and create one separately conveyable parcel to be developed with residential uses in the future. The proposed severed parcel has an area of 1.65 hectares with 110 meters of frontage on County Road 15. And the proposed retained lands will have an area of 39 hectares with 225 meters of frontage on County Road 14. The existing use of the lands is agricultural. So the subject lands are designated rural area in the County of Lennox and Addington official plan and are designated rural and selected bedrock resource overlay and environmental protection locally significant wetland and floodplain in the Township of Stone Mills official plan, and are zoned rural and environmental protection in the zoning bylaw. We did assess the proposal against the provincial planning statement and found that the proposal generally conforms to the intent of the provincial planning statement. With respect to the official plan, I'll speak to the bedrock resources. So the subject lands are an area designated bedrock resource overlay. So comments provided by Ministry of Mines confirm that the proposed resource use would likely not be feasible on the subject lands, as there are existing residential uses within less than 350 meters of existing residences, which would effectively preclude or hinder development of any new aggregate operation. It is on the county road. And then with respect to the environmental protection area designations, we'll note that the retained parcel is quite deep, not shown on the sketch, but is quite deep, and the lands associated with the environmental protection area are far at the rear and are well beyond 120 meters of the proposed severed lot. And there continues to be a potential building area on the retained lands. So as such, staff have no concerns that the proposed lot complies with the environmental protection policies of the official plan. With respect to minimum distance separation, the applicants provided a report prepared by FOTEN Planning and Design, which confirms that there is a building envelope of there's a sufficient building envelope on the proposed severed lot outside of all required MDS setbacks. So upon our review of the report, we're satisfied that the proposed lot complies with MDS. With respect to the zoning bylaw, as mentioned again, the lands are zoned, the proposed severed parcel is zoned rural, and it meets the minimum lot area and frontage for residential uses only. The proposed retained parcel is zoned rural, and then the rear of the property is within the environmental protection zone. So the retained lands has sufficient frontage and area to accommodate residential and non-residential uses, and there's sufficient area for development of both the severed and retained lands to be located outside of any required environmental protection setbacks. So in summary, it's my professional opinion the proposed consent application, I missed the general consent policies in the official plan. So this proposed severed and retained lots are an existing public road, and we received, it's assumed that there's adequate area for a sewage disposal system. We'll note that at the time of this meeting, the test pits have not yet been inspected, so that's included as a condition of the consent, just that the building department confirms that there is satisfactory location for an OBC compliant septic disposal system. So in summary, with the recommended conditions, it's my professional opinion that the proposed consent is consistent with the intent of the provincial planning statement, conforms to the policies of the county and township official plans, and the provisions of the township zoning bylaw. Thank you.
Thanks, Emma. Committee members have any concerns or questions? Yes, Dieter?
Just a question. On my field inspection there, I wanted to, it looked like you were severing off that field right there at the northwest corner. Is that how I interpret the severance sketch? Or are the dimensions just, they are what they are in the middle of the field?
It's against a closed road allowance on the west side.
Yeah, I
of the
see that there,
property.
and there's a fence line there, yeah.
Yes.
Or the lot line. But is the south limit also along a field line or fence line, or is it in the middle of the field?
I think it's approximately the middle of the field.
Of the middle field. What about the east side? Does it does it go as far as the
It
fence line?
doesn't go to the fence
So
line, no,
it's being chopped out of that
out of that field.
that field in the
Yes.
northwest corner?
Yes,
Okay, all right, I just wanted to confirm that, thank you.
yes. Yep.
Interesting about that old road allowance, isn't it?
Yeah. I never thought it was an open road allowance when we started all this. It's the other end of the Barrett side road is what it actually is,
Is that right?
from the Centreville road. So it crosses the river and up through there and right north to the Holden side road.
Okay.
Just for general information, in Camden Township, between every 6th and 7th lot, there is a sideline road allowance, and that's it. Right across the entire township, between every 6th and 7th lot, there's a 40-foot road allowance. It goes from the south right to the north. It's laid out in the original survey of the township.
Anyone have any concerns or questions? Need a motion? Moved by Bob, seconded by Dieter, that we approve. All those in favor? Carried. You'll be getting a list of all the attached conditions and wait for 21 days before you do anything. Okay? Have a good evening. B 41-2024, McCully, 919 Rogers Road. Emma, you're on again.
Through Mr. Chair, application B41 2024 proposes to sever and create one separately conveyable parcel. The parcel to be severed is developed with an existing single detached dwelling, and the proposed retained lands are vacant. The lands are located on the north side of Rogers Road, east of Potchett Road, and west of Breen Road. The proposed severed parcel has an area of 11 hectares with 119 meters of frontage on Rogers Road. And again, as mentioned, it's developed with a single detached dwelling and accessory structure. There's a shed. The retained lands have an area of 30 hectares with 359 meters of split frontage on County Road 14, and the lands are currently undeveloped. So effectively, as shown on the sketch, the proposed consent seeks to effectively divide the parcel in two. The proposed severed lot line follows the creek that connects, that runs across north-south the property and connects to Hughes Lake. So that's the rationale for the lot lines as shown, with the intent to ensure that the aren't inadvertently dividing portions of the property by the creek, to ensure that each side of the creek remains sort of in separate ownership. So that's the rationale for the, I'll say, more atypical lot fabric. So we did review the proposal against the provincial planning statement and found that it generally meets the intent of the PPS. With respect to the County of Lennox and Addington official plan, we'll note that a portion of the subject property is located within the selected sand and gravel resource area of secondary significance. So did assess the proposal against the policies of the county official plan. So again, based on comments provided by Ministry of Mines, the proposed resource use would not be feasible as all or parts of the property are within less than 350 meters of existing residences. So that would limit the potential development of any future aggregate extraction. We'll note as well the location of the sand and gravel resource designation is sort of immediately under, there's a pocket of it immediately under the creek. So again, there's some environmental protection considerations that would weigh into that decision as well. The subject property is on a local road. There's existing access to the severed parcel, and Public Works had no comments or concerns with respect to accessing the retained. So with respect to the township official plan, we'll note that portions of the lands are designated locally significant wetland. That generally sort of corresponds to lands at the rear of the retained parcel, sort of associated with the creek. We'll note that Quinty Conservation reviewed and identified an area west of the wetlands on the retained land beyond the 30-meter setback, so had no concerns with respect to the retained parcel being able to support future residential development. It's noted that the subject lands are in proximity to a licensed pit. There is a pit to the west of the subject lands. But again, it's over 400 meters from the property, and the official plan considers adjacent lands as 300 meters. So the proposed new lot exceeds this distance, so no land use compatibility concerns are anticipated. I already discussed the lands as being within a sand and gravel resource overlay. So again, due to the presence of existing residential uses and environmental protection areas, it's been determined that the proposed residential or future residential use is appropriate. With respect to the minimum distance separation formula, we did complete a review and did not find any barns within 750 meters that required an MDS setback, so the proposal complies with MDS. With respect to the general consent policies, the proposed lot is generally a rounding out in an existing developed area. The proposed frontages and areas are large, so maintain sort of the rural, like large rural frontages with limited residential development. Both the severed and retained lots are an existing public road that's maintained year-round. Access can be maintained. We did receive supportive comments from Township of Stone Mills Building Department about the being able to service the proposed retained parcel with a OBC compliant sewage disposal system. With respect to the Township of Stone Mills zoning bylaw, both the severed and retained parcels meet the minimum lot area and frontage requirements for residential and non-residential uses. Any future development on the severed and retained parcels is required to comply with the provisions of the bylaw. It's noted that there is sufficient area on both the severed and retained to meet the required setbacks from the water body as well as the extractive industrial zone on adjacent lands. I will note that we did not receive any public comments with respect to this application. And we'll just to summarize by saying that the proposed consent application B41, in my professional opinion, is consistent with the intent of the PPS, conforms to the policies of the county and township official plan, and the provisions of the township zoning bylaw, pending the noted conditions are satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Committee members have any concerns or questions?
Just a question. I'm curious.
Surprise, surprise.
As a, you may or not, as a surveyor, I always found that natural boundaries make the best property line. So I'm just wondering why you didn't go to the creek for a boundary. Any? That's recommended by the planner. Oh, by the planner. Okay, all right. The planners aren't surveyors, so there we are. The other question I have is, do you have a problem with bears in your place? Sorry? Do you have a problem with bears? I can't hear you. Do you have a problem with bears? Bears. 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 Bears? Yeah, bears.
Oh, there's a lot of bears.
I asked because I see your garbage can is fenced in.
Anyone have any other concerns or questions? Need a motion to approve. Moved by Bob, seconded by Aaron. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you very much, folks.
Deputations other than pertaining to the applications, are there any? Other business, is there any? No? Well, I guess we're at the final hour. Motion to adjourn. Moved by Bob, seconded by Aaron. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Now, we have to hang around, right? Cindy? Yeah, just for a second. We have to sign?